big supporter of yours.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
I'm Don Smithers.
It's a hill with Glenn Beck. You hear me?
I got involved in Republican Party politics in the early 90s. I had a pastor encourage me to go to a precinct convention, and the bid was set for me there. The very first county convention that I went to, the deacons of my conservative Southern Baptist church led that county convention to reject the pro-life plank in the Republican Party platform, and you could have knocked me over with a feather. I felt like I had everything that I knew and believed just jerked out from under me. I am a registered nurse, and I was born and raised Catholic, and I got to vote for the first time for Ronald Reagan as president, and I knew the sun came up in the east and set in the west about as much as I knew that life began at conception and Republicans were pro-life. And so when I got to that meeting and I saw the deacons of my church say, no, we don't think that ought to be part of the Republican Party platform, I woke up. And I thought, man, if I am not paying attention, if this kind of thing can happen in my little small town, conservative Texas town, from members of my own church, then I'm sure there are lots of other things that I hold dear that when we're busy running our businesses and raising our families, we are letting slip and we're losing. And so I've been an active grassroots political campaigner, and I've worked on some campaigns. In fact, I'll leave a few of you alone, but there are some in this room who I've helped campaign for before. And I got approached in November of 2008 and asked to run for governor. We kind of chuckled at that at the time, because while we've had lots of political discussions in our home, Mama running for governor was never anything that was discussed. And at the same time, I knew right then that I didn't like the choices Texas Republicans were likely to have. I had worked for both Kay Hutchison and Rick Perry to help get them elected, and I had seen time and time again where they had promoted bigger government rather than the limited constitutional conservative republic that Republicans profess to be promoting. It took about 3 months and ultimately a conversation with my daughter, who said, you know, Mom, I'm not sure why you're so worried about what the outcome is going to be. It's not how you raised us. It's not how you've ever lived your life. Why don't you get out and do the good that's before you to do and let the outcome be what the outcome will be. And so with that, on February 11th, is today the 11th? Yes. A year ago today, I thought it was, but I've been running kind of crazy. A year ago today, I appointed a campaign treasurer, so y'all can sing happy birthday to the Medina for Texas campaign, because we entered this race February 11th, 2009. And the first audience that I spoke to was about 30 people at Carrabba's on Kirby in Houston. And I said to them that night, the outcome of this race really isn't up to me. I'm going to commit this to you. I'm going to work my butt off from now until March 2nd of 2010. I'm not going to give it 1 inch, come what may. The goal for this race is to win on March 2nd. That's where I'm headed. The outcome will be up to you. How hard will you work between now and March 2nd of 2010 to restore a constitutional republic in Texas? And thank goodness, lots of you felt like you were ready to do that, and people are stepping up every day, and we're standing shoulder to shoulder. And I think all of the naysayers are beginning to go, oh man, you get a hold of a Texas woman, you've got something on your hands, and we're going to get this done. We're going to win this race. We're going to win it. I know many who have said, you know, I wasn't going to have any impact, and then I might cause a runoff, or now she might be in the runoff phase. But I'm here to tell you, I don't think there's going to be a runoff in Texas. We're going to win the race. Win.
I found out about Debra online and just looking for an alternative to what we had to offer before. Somebody said there was a third candidate running, so I looked her up, saw her website, and really liked what she had to say. So I was thankful to have, number one, a choice, and a really good choice.
Oh, she's a true Texan, and she's talking about we the people rather than we the elite politicians. You could see it in the first debate that we had a real states lady in the first debate, and we had two politicians, in my opinion.
Debra,
I think that you hold your ground and you stand up for what you said today. If everything stays consistent, you've got my vote.
When I saw the second gubernatorial debate, I decided that I was going to have to take off from work. I own my own swimming pool company, and I asked my sister to start watching it for me. She's taking care of my business for the most part, and until March the 2nd, I'm working with Debra Medina.
When you're in crisis, and you know, I've not been in the military, but I've been in plenty of codes, and that's exactly what this feels like. You've got people dying around you, you've got life falling apart, and you have to stay focused on what you're doing, what your job is. I've got a job here to do. My job is to be the candidate. My job is to lead and go. I'm pursuing the opportunity to govern Texas, and I'm prepared for that. And if I'm going to do that and do it well, I'm going to have to be able to get through these kind of crises. And so it's not unreasonable for me to expect this to come. It hurts, but if we're going to forge the strength that we need in this vessel, and that's what I've been saying, I'm just a vessel for a message. If this vessel is going to be able to do the job, then she's going to have to stand up under those kind of assaults and stay strong and stay focused and lead. And I couldn't be a good code nurse if I couldn't do that, if I fell apart. And look, I grew up in a small town. I can tell you about case after case after case, like it was yesterday. A girl I went to high school with, rode the bus with every day, was driving a vehicle with her two young children. I think the baby was 18 or 20 months. And the oldest child was 2.5 or 3 years old, the most beautiful child you've ever seen. Oh, that was a beautiful baby boy. She got broadsided. That child flew through the windshield, came into my emergency room. I was there. I knew her. I didn't know the baby, but I knew her, and I had two babies on my hands. I had an 18-month-old baby and a 2.5-year-old that had flown through a windshield. You can fall apart, or you can buck up and you can save a life. And I've done that time and time again. You can fall apart when it's over with. I'll fall apart and I'll shed some tears here, but my job is to get up in a few minutes and get out there and tell Texas that we're going to lead Texas. We're going to change. I've said that, not just our state, but our country. We have lost the kind of excellence, transparency, and accountability that we deserve. The fact that this is a controversy ought to scare the shit out of all of us. Why are people even asking questions about what happened? We ought to know beyond a shadow of a doubt. We ought to know beyond a shadow of a doubt about cap and trade science, about global warming science, and yet we've just had evidence put out that people, powerful interests, are manipulating data. We deserve better than that. We deserve better than that in a free country from our elected leaders. And I'm fighting to restore that, and that means I'm knocking on some pretty powerful doors, and I'm a threat. So it's going to hurt. And I'm confident that we've got a team. We've got a great team in Texas, and people are going to step up and fight for life, liberty, and property. That's what this is about. Are we going to be free, or are we going to be enslaved to some powerful government that distorts facts, distorts data, gives us what they want us to know, and just makes us produce for them? That's not the kind of free society I think our founders fought for, and it's what we're fighting to get back. It's going to be tough.
I've been listening to Debra Medina now for 3-4 months, and my gut tells me and my spirit tells me she's the real thing, and I believe what she's saying. And like I stated in there, if we had a government that we could actually trust, this wouldn't even be a topic we'd be discussing now, would it? That's why we're looking for someone else to step in. We won't have to have these questions and these arguments. Someone that we can actually trust, and that's why we like Debra Medina.